Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be checking out Power Girl issue 8 by Leah Williams and Eduardo Pansica. Power Girl joins the House of Brainiac Superman event this issue as Paige's day is brought to an abrupt halt when Brainiac's forces invade Metropolis, capturing Streaky, Axel, the man Paige has been flirting with, and Omen, leaving Power Girl to race to rescue her friends and stop Brainiac, drones, and Zarnian soldiers around the city. Enjoyed the slice of life stuff at the beginning of the issue, and it's something the series has done quite a bit of when it's not dropping Power Girl into interesting scenarios like a medieval universe in the last couple of issues. This first couple of pages as well is really great for people who are probably tuning into the book who haven't read the first 7 issues and are just picking it up just because it ties into the Superman event, and it gives them a chance to see what's going on in the Power Girl book and also get to see Paige try her hand at flirting with Axel, which has been a kind of on and off thing throughout this entire book. It's a neat little relationship, and watching it slowly blossom has been pretty cool over the last couple of issues. Also, I'm pretty sure the skating lesson that Paige is on with Omen will come back in some way. It's like a Chekhov skating lesson. She gets taught how to properly skate, and I feel like that's going to come back in a big way in one of her tie-in issues where she has to glide around on something, or it might even help her learn more control, since that's one of the key things to skating. You've got to have control of your feet and of the wheels and everything, and I could see that being something that she could learn through this. Like her counterpart Supergirl, Paige often has bouts of rage during battle, and she does so here once Omen is forcibly taken by Brainiac, causing her to blow her way through the drones and Zarnians and try and determine why they are doing this. Leah Williams has tapped into this rage a couple of times throughout the run so far, and it's always a lot of fun to see her let loose every now and then. Power Girl, however, misses the brunt of the attack in central Metropolis and finds everyone she knows is gone, except for Superman, who arrives in Paige's apartment. Superman really is here just to kind of fill Paige in on what's been happening over in Action Comics 1064 and Superman 13, thus also filling in a reader who might not be reading those books in on what's been going on. Though if you are reading this book, I imagine you are reading the other books as well, so it's not needed, but it is something that actually has to happen to thrust her into this story properly and give her a sort of mission, and that's exactly what happens, as we learn that she is to protect Metropolis as Superman goes off with Lobo to find Brainiac and get their families back. From here, Williams is left to basically all her own storytelling within the House of Brainiac setting, and it's pretty neat and it's simple, as we're treated to a cool sort of bird's eye view map of Metropolis where we get to see all of the major landmarks and what Power Girl, Natasha, Irons, Steel, and Hawkgirl are doing within the city to help save it, with them all sort of taking their own little area and their own little territory to shore up the city's defenses. It's all done in one page too, so it's extremely efficient with page space and time, so props to Williams for doing that. I could have seen this easily taken a couple of pages with each individual member getting, their own page and their own sort of like little story within this book, but I like that it's quick and to the point. Power Girl, while coordinating with the other heroes, spots a Zarnian who must have been left behind after the attack. However, it's not just any Zarnian, it's Crush, the half-daughter of Lobo, who is quick to defeat Power Girl so they can sort out their differences in a bit more of a civilized way. I quite like this initial meeting here, and it seems like Power Girl and Crush's dynamic will be kind of the opposite of what Superman and Lobo's was in Superman issue 13, with Power Girl being the more brash and prone to violence one, which we see earlier on in the book that she is, and Crush being a little bit more mindful and willing to talk things out like she is right here. Crush's introduction also introduced us to the Holiday Girls, and I'm not sure if Crush has been hanging out with these girls for some time. I know she's had some solo books, I'm not sure if they were introduced there. But here, if we're introduced to them right here, that's actually pretty cool, because the Holiday Girls are a real old DC Comics creation, almost older than Superman, and they date back to the 40s and are a sorority usually led by Etta Candy. They're a Wonder Woman adjacent sort of team, I guess you could call them. And I quite like that they've been repurposed as a biker gang that Crush seems to be part of. It's a very fitting setting for her, being the daughter of Lobo and his affinity for motorbikes and bike wax in general, so I like that she is sort of following her father's footsteps in that regard. That's pretty cool, and I'm intrigued to see them give a little bit more Paige space to the Holiday Girls, because again, that's like a really old DC creation, and for that to be brought back is really quite cool, and just shows that Williams is doing the research in bringing all these old things back in this comic, and I think that's really cool. I love it when a writer does that and remembers something from the 40s that no one's thought about in years. Eduardo Pansica, who returns from the book after doing the first 4 issues of the series, draws the book with a fantastic fast-paced energy, and I especially like how he plays the differences between Paige and Power Girl, and he did this in his first 4 issues as well. How he draws Paige in, you know, slightly more baggier clothing, has her hair kind of hide her face and kind of fall on her face so it hides her facial features, and he even employs the classic glasses that slightly change the eye color of the character, where Paige's eyes are like a darker blue and Power Girl's eyes are the light, you know, ice blue, just like how Clark usually has with his glasses. They're usually made of like a Kryptonian glass that slightly changes the hue of the eye, and I think it's pretty cool that that's been employed here in the artwork. It's a great couple of features that really give her her own identity outside of the costume, which was a big part of why this comic exists in the first place, to give Power Girl an identity of her own away from Supergirl. Williams meanwhile leaves the last few pages to introduce us to what I guess is going to be the villains of this tie-in, which is a group of Zarnians who all hid away during the attack to escape Brainiac's service and strike out on their own. They were all named after like little mammals like civets and ferrets and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty cool. And not only did they escape with their lives, they also stole some of Brainiac's weaponry, like a nanoblaster, which they learn seemingly doesn't work on people, but it works on machines. And we're kind of left up in the air of exactly how and why it does this, but when it's shot at something like a passing bike, it turns the bike into this dragon-headed hell machine that seemingly has a life of its own. That's a pretty cool added layer to Power Girl dealing with Zarnians. She isn't just like keeping the city protected from villains who might use this as an opportunity to attack the city. She's actually getting to fight Zarnians as well. I like that there's now evil machines out there as well for her to deal with, and I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about them, since they aren't really explained in this issue. They're just sort of debuted, and there's like, oh, there's now a weapon in Metropolis that can turn machines into hell machines. How is Power Girl going to deal with this? And I'm excited to find out. Power Girl's introduction into the House of Brainiac event was quite a bit of setup, filling in a couple of blanks from the event's first 2 issues and positioning Paige as the protector of Metropolis in Superman's absence. Leah Williams and her team have gathered together a great set of interesting characters, pulling from all eras of DC, all the way from the 1940s to the present day, and I'm interested to see how they are going to go through this event and how they are all going to deal with it, and I'm thoroughly invested in their stories. I'm going to give this issue an 8 out of 10.